I'm just gonna say it right here, right now. They should have brought back Cocolia as a servant, Bronya should have been the master, and the wish Bronya wanted granted should have been to resurrect her mother. I saw a picture of Emo March 7th, aka Friday the 13th, and decided to revisit Star Rail after quote-unquote quitting the game. Is this a permanent return? I don't know, I'll tell you once I've actually done something besides play this incredibly divisive collab event. Part of me loved the event and the other part of me thinks this was a massive disappointment. My favorite and the best part of the collab was the moment-to-moment character interactions. Saber, Archer, and Lancer were all very accurate to their various appearances in the Fate franchise. Seeing them speculate about what was happening, strategize on how to fix the bizarre Holy Grail war, and just casually talk and joke with each other was genuinely really fun. In general, the character writing was surprisingly strong. The constant flirting between Boothill and Robin was adorable to watch. Seriously, these two need to just confess their undying love to each other already. Adventuring constantly belittling Scott and Assassin, making fun of their movies, and personally attacking the duo was hilarious. Trailblazer and Archer felt like siblings getting on each other's nerves, and Saber was the mom trying to make sure they get along. It was great. However, the actual overarching plot was a mess. I think the introduction is fine, setting up the different masters, servants, establishing character dynamics, and trying to make alliances. But as soon as we get into the movie world, everything falls apart. Why the hell is there no voice acting? A silent movie? What is this nonsense? Why are we living the day-to-day life of a random Herta space station employee? I'm so bored. Somebody please put me out of my misery and shoot me already. While I think there are some good jokes here and there, the story starting from the film section up until the ending goodbye is massively disappointing. Not because I think the story itself is bad, but rather because the fake characters are in no way, shape, or form important to anything that's happening. As a standalone Penacony story, I think it's good. In fact, I think this would have been perfect as the story released alongside a theoretical 5-star Mr. Rekka. Obviously, some things would need to change and be rewritten, but at its core, I think it works.
It's a promise.
As a fake collab story, however, it's awful. Saber and friends don't really do anything from a story or gameplay perspective. They're just around, telling jokes. And I like the jokes, but why are they here if they're not gonna do anything? The closest we get to the fate aspect being well implemented is the adventuring betrayal. Him pretending to betray us is a fun moment, and the cinematic after the fight is cool. Archer joining adventuring in the quote-unquote betrayal does make sense from a character perspective, and not only that, he does actually fight alongside adventuring in the boss fight. Sort of. He'll randomly launch an attack at you, but besides that, we don't directly fight him, which is disappointing. Imagine this. Phase 1 of the adventuring boss is him and Archer teaming up to fight us, and Archer is an actual enemy and not just a random off-screen attack, similar to the Cocolia and Bronya boss. Maybe even give them an ultimate attack where they team up and do a sick combo attack. But Phase 2 removes adventuring, and Archer activates unlimited blade works, transporting you into his reality bubble, and he gets new attacks. Imagine if he used weapons from different Star Rail characters, Sedle's scythe, Kafka's sword, Himiko's briefcase, Aventuring's dice. That would be so cool! And I know what you're thinking, why would mihoyo put so much effort into a boss fight in a temporary event? You're just being greedy, delusional, and ungrateful, you bastard! First of all, calm down. Second, this collab was announced 2 years ago. They certainly could have done something like this. Thirdly, and finally, they have done something like this in the past. A couple years ago, Honkai Impact 3rd had a crossover with Genshin Impact. In this collab, Fischl and Andreas were added as a permanent summonable character and boss fight respectively. Now, of course, this was a different game with a different development team, but it shows that mihoyo as a whole is willing to make a brand new boss fight for a collab. The Fate event game mode is permanent, so I definitely think they could have gone further and beyond. And if they didn't want to make it a permanent boss, that's fine, make it temporary. Oh, but why would they put so much effort into a temporary boss fight? Because they've done something similar before. During the Honkai Genshin collab, there was a temporary event where you could play as Keqing. Once the collab ended, the event and subsequently Kaching were permanently removed. You could no longer play as her. Look, all I'm saying is that they had 2 years to work on this collab. They could have made an Archer boss fight and it would have been dope as hell. The fights in general were boring as hell. There were a handful of fights against those generic weak TV enemies, the ever so slightly different adventuring boss with Archer, and the final boss fight against the big bug. We waited 2 years for this? Is this a prank? Am I being pranked? This must be a prank. Where are the cameras, Mr. Rekka? I know you're watching, you sexy freak! That aside, in my opinion, the Fate story should have just been a fun tournament arc, rather than the corrupt reality TV show, capitalism bad, critique we got. This would be the perfect excuse to just have a bunch of scenes with all of these characters interacting with each other. Jokes, friendly rivalries, bitter enemies, fun battles, inspiring victories, and crushing defeats. It could have been great. The collab doesn't need to be this dark, serious story. The Fate franchise itself certainly isn't afraid to get dark, but making a fun, temporary event makes more sense in my opinion. Trailblazer and Saber go around hunting down the different masters. Once we find them, we talk a little, find out what they would wish for if they won, and fight. Rinse and repeat until Trailblazer and Saber win. I think there's potential here to rework 2 of the masters and servants. We can keep Boothill, Aventurine, Mr. Rekka, and Robin. However, give Miss Note a unique design rather than using a generic NPC model. Make Mr. Rekka the master and Grady his servant. Their dynamic of a forgotten schlock horror movie maker and an actual, well-respected movie maker has a lot of potential to be really funny. And kinda sad. Saber, Archer, Lancer, Assassin, and Caster are all accounted for, but what about the remaining 2? Well, I think Fei Xiao should be Rider's Master, and I think Hule should be Rider. Those 2 would have such a violent partnership and that would be amazing. And I know what you're thinking, how does Hule being a Rider make sense? Simple, he's a massive wolf. If you're brave enough, you could hop on his back and ride him around. Also, being Rider doesn't mean you have to be able to literally ride them, just have a strong connection to the concept of riding something. For example, in the Fate franchise, one of the Rider characters is Noah from Noah's Ark. So yeah, you don't have to be able to literally ride the servant known as Rider. They just have to have some kind of connection to the concept. Being a massive wolf certainly gives him the connection. Also, in order to add some nice halftime entertainment, halfway into the tournament, Fei Xiao releases Hule by using her command seals. We then have a special one-on-one boss fight where we use a powered up version of Fei Xiao to fight Hule. You know how some bosses have special gimmicks, like being able to run over Sunday with a train? Fei Xiao gets a gimmick where she summons the giant fox monster from her boss fight to deal big PP damage to Hule. And finally, Bronya should be Berserker's master and Cocolia should be Berserker. Unless I'm missing something, which is certainly possible. The last time Bronya was used in the story was the Topaz event from version 1.4. This would be the perfect excuse to bring her back and explore her character. Of course, we need to have a tear-jerking reunion scene between mother and daughter. Having a scene where Bronya asks Cocolia why she did what she did, and Cocolia being immensely proud of the woman and leader Bronya is becoming. Oh my god, bro! Imagine a scene where Bronya tells her mom that she wants to use the wish to resurrect her, but Cocolia immediately says no. She rather Bronya uses the wish to help rebuild Bellabog. Oh my god, bro! Oh, I would cry for hours. They should also get access to new moves and gimmicks. A reworked version of a day 1 boss fight would be sick. And if you want an explanation for why they suddenly have a bunch of new attacks and stuff, easy. They're accessing the power of the Holy Grail itself to give themselves a boost in power. And of course, it should be a permanent addition rather than being locked to this event. Now, I know adding such a massive reunion behind a temporary event is insane, let alone a collab event, But honestly, at this point, I've lost all hope in meaningfully revisiting Belobog and its characters. For example, Sampo is just randomly at the beginning of the actual event, but he doesn't do anything. He's just like a random cutaway joke alongside Hook, who's just like there. Hook doesn't even say anything. Hook is just standing there. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't think we're ever really gonna meaningfully revisit Belobog, even if the rumors of 5-star Sampo, aka Emanator of Elation, happens. I don't think he's gonna do that in Belobog. He's gonna do that in whatever planet we're at in the moment. So, I don't know. Please just let me have this pipe dream of mine. Anyways, we beat the reunited mother-daughter duo, claim the grail, and make our wish for infinite trash cans to rummage through, like the bottomless black hole of greed we are! However, after making the wish, it doesn't work. Turns out the grail doesn't function properly due to the lack of magical energy. The grail has been using dream energy this entire time, which is a far weaker energy source, which doesn't allow it to grant wishes. Disappointing, but oh well. Saber and Trailblazer say their goodbyes, event over, everybody lived happily ever after. But quickly, what are my thoughts on the event game mode? It's fine. A simple I'm losing my voice. It's simple, but it's fine. A simple roguelike mode, Jesus Christ, why was that so hard to say? With decent build variety. The main problem with it is the fact I'm dying. I swear to God, guys, I think I'm dying. A simple roguelike mode with some decent build variety. The main problem with it is the fact that Star Rail already has like 7 different permanent roguelike game modes available. As a consequence, the Fate version doesn't feel special or interesting. I like it well enough, I suppose, but it's fine. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just okay. That being said, overall, the Fate Collab is very disappointing in my opinion. We waited 2 years for a story that focuses entirely on some random NPCs that we've never heard of before and will never see again, aside from probably Otis, but literally who cares. The space station will haunt my dreams for the rest of eternity. The fights themselves were boring copy and paste fights from over a year and a half ago, and the event mode is just another slightly different roguelike, as if we aren't already drowning in those. I think this collab could have been an absolutely amazing experience, a fun story with a wide variety of characters interacting with each other, potential for some completely new, slightly tweaked, and heavily reworked boss fights, and the potential for a heartwarming, wrenching reunion between mother and daughter. 2 years we waited. Yikes! If you enjoyed the video and want to more directly support me, become a channel member for just $5 a month. With those $5, I will be able to buy a bottle of water to drink and fix my voice. Click the join button next to the subscribe button or on the link in the description. While you're at it, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.